Hey guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start Trilby's notes tonight. The only good game in this whole series, honestly.
Notice it breaks the theme naming. This is a good sign.
Yes, it is. It's still tiny though.
Yeah.
Also, Trilby's notes is where Yahtzee actually got a composer for his games, so. He really does look kind of bug-eyed on there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Just kind of the nature of a smolder on Sprite, I guess.
Ah, the music. Note the lack of a ravine.
Yep. Still not.
He was locked in a house for 5 days. How the fuck is that truancy? It's fine, Yahtzee, or not Yahtzee. Trilby, you were terrible at being a cat burglar anyway. I've played Art of Theft.
Uh, but hey, at least he develops as a character now, and I actually like him. Like, he's kind of an asshole, but in this game, you actually understand him being an asshole.
As opposed to him just being an arrogant twat.
Yep.
I mean, theoretically, you could be invisible and tangible, but. Dang, they beat him into unconsciousness? Guess that means police suck. I don't. Suck no matter what the year.
Yeah. Possibly. He may be speaking metaphorically, but it's kind of hard to tell.
Sorry about that, guys. I hit the enter button a little too soon there.
Yeah, it's always just kind of the risk with keyboards and games.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they skip past something and you're just like, wait, no, damn it.
If only there was a back button or an auto. It's funny how much I miss auto lock nowadays. I've been spoiled. Ultimate Paragon says, hey, hello. Which, again, Trilby's still an asshole. He's just an asshole with actual reasons behind it now.
Yep.
Besides ego. Trilby, if she punched you in the face for letting her think you were dead, then and that, I guess technically she would have felt guilty about being responsible for killing him, wouldn't she?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So if you would have deserved at least a face punch.
Yeah, it's kind of the case. She probably had deep survivor's guilt along with the other host of problems that come with PTSD.
Yeah, don't mind the cursor. I was moving it over to the side so I can actually see the dialogue in the Twitch window. This game is really tiny. Have I mentioned that?
Yeah, you can apparently expand it to like 640 at the very least, but yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it looks like crap if I do that, so it's like, what do I do here? Oh well. Yes, but that idea was terrible, Yahtzee.
We see what happens in the next game when everything's mashed together. Oh god.
Yeah, let's not. I don't wanna. All right, so you guys can already see a couple of gameplay changes. Oh, okay. I guess she's on this side then. The game is basically entirely keyboard based. And honestly, the text parser is a good thing here.
Yeah, it really does work nicely, especially like I don't care for the old style games that are just completely text based for text parsers, but with this it really does work a lot better.
And also, I'm not having
Yeah,
to
but
struggle with a
using the
really
text.
tiny user interface. That's also helpful.
Yeah.
We're going back to the tiny user interface in the next game. I don't want it.
I don't want any.
Especially since it's the user interface from 7 Days of Skeptic.
Yeah, I don't want anything about the anything from the next game because the next game is ungodly bad.
Trust me, Yahtzee. 5 days in an office or 7 days in whatever. In an office building would have been a much better setting than what we actually got.
Yeah. A business office in a high-rise is actually a pretty good setting for a lot of things, surprisingly. Lots of stuff that could be done there.
Okay. How can you tell it was a big assailant, Trilby? Fuck it, I'm just gonna start calling him Pork Pie. He's gonna utterly destroy his vision that way.
Yep. Mark Lovegrove does do a very good job at composing the music for this, though.
He does, yes. The music is amazing in this. Why, oh why, would you assign the person who has PTSD from this on that event?
Possibly because the people running that organization have a very sick sense of humor.
Maybe.
Kind of reminds me of a joke from, I think it was Men in Black 2, on how they operate on like a 33-hour day. You get used to it, or you suffer a mental breakdown, one or the other.
Hmm. That reminds me of that XKCD comic about switching to a 30-hour day.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's very efficient or something. You increase the efficiency or something like that. I'm just imagining that conversation. Hey, James, I'm not actually dead. I also need you to hide. Did he at least punch Pork Pie in the head? Also, in case you're wondering, yes, Abed Chahal is supposed to be related to Barry Chahal from the last game. And again, he's a black guy. He's a black guy in a horror game. The inevitable will happen.
Yeah, the game has the cliches, but it's not garbage, so I don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's role of a scholar. Please do not ask me to try and pronounce these words. I admire Welsh for their sticking with their language out of sheer spite for English colonialism, but I can't pronounce them.
Yeah, I see Welsh-based names. I'm just kind of like, why does your name have 5 Y's and 3 N's in it?
At least Clan Bronwyn's easy enough. It's also visibly Welsh, but whatever. It would have been hilarious if he had accidentally put in Clawinbrin for on top of the hotel.
Yeah, that would have been awkward.
Yep. An anorak is basically a parka, so. The moo. Yes, that's very reassuring. They're separate organizations, but by the time that the Consuming Shadow rolls around, Trilby's an agent of the Ministry of Occultism instead of the Special Talents Project, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they might as well just be the overarching organization and then subdivisions.
Hmm.
Like, that would probably just make things easier.
You don't have friends, Trilby. You're an asshole. Always.
Yep, he's an asshole, but he's an asshole with an actual personality in this game, so I'm okay with it.
Hmm. The Clan Bronwyn Hotel lobby was a warm welcome. The building was certainly well maintained, and yet there was something about it that nagged at the back of my mind, quickening my pulse. I dismissed the sensation, an act which, in retrospect, I would come to regret.
I actually do love the journal style that's added in
Yeah, I just
to
wish
the
he'd
whole thing.
learn to be succinct.
Yeah.
Terrence Railby. That's the extent of his. I don't. How do I? What the fuck kind of a pseudonym is that?
I can't decide if what level that's at. I mean, a corporation owned by S. Anton or someone going by the name of Luis Cipher is probably a bit worse than that. So if those are like ones, I'll give that about a 4.
Oh my god. I'm okay throwing something at you, tiny Yahtzee.
One thing I can't help but notice about that little tiny Yahtzee figure more than his eyes is he seems to be wearing like a Hawaiian style
He is.
shirt.
You don't need to hold our hands, Trilby. But yeah, he has a weird affection for Hawaiian shirts for some reason. So, in this game and the next one, his special edition little sprite is wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
I mean, fair enough. I've got like one or two, and they're fairly comfortable. So
Well, it's kind of funny because there's at least a couple pictures of him in his like the British long coat kind of thing, over
hmm
top a Hawaiian shirt.
that sounds like it would clash a bit.
Yeah, and the trilby that he has to wear because it's glued to his head apparently.
Hmm. I mean, I wear my damn one everywhere, every chance I get, as long as I'm in pants and a shirt. So I don't do it when I'm in shorts and wearing shorts, because that just would look silly.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him wearing shorts with that combo too. So it's very.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of going full blown though, so I kind of respect that part, because then it's like you look ridiculous and you're just embracing it.
And for those wondering how you pronounce her name, it's Siobhan.
Siobhan. Well, I'll probably remember that for maybe like 5 minutes and then completely forget in a little bit, because that tends to be how I go when I see names like that because that shit throws me the fuck off.
Also, when Yahtzee's saying that he got the name Abed from two Asian people he knows, he means South Asian.
Hmm.
That's what Asian means over in the UK.
Hmm. Yep, and it's actually used well here. And only here.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that next one, are we?
Nope, not until we get there, and then we'll, scream. Scream long.
Fucking fuses. No, seriously, I want to know how the hell a staple can be used as a fuse.
I think my brain needs to reboot because I had forgotten about that. And now the logic centers of my brain's just like, but what? I, I, it's
He's in his 30s. He's not that young. I think. I think he was like, what was he, like 20, 25 during the time? So I guess late 20s. That is kind of young. I mean, that is kind of the limitation for a text parser game. You have to actually know what to ask.
yeah, but at the same time, with this text parsers type game, if you're not trying to delve into it, that's kind of on the player.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like in RPGs, Bioware stuff. If you don't explore the additional dialogue options, yeah, you're gonna miss shit.
Quick question: is Warwick University an actual place?
To Google I go.
Thank you. So yeah, apparently Yahtzee still can't manage to have a female character in here without either making her incredibly stupid or sexually harassing. Or I mean, well, sexually into anyone, but usually Trilby.
Yes, Warwick University is a real place. It is the ninth ranked college or university in the UK, 62nd in the world as of currently.
Huh. All right. Wouldn't
Yeah,
have
it's
counted on
actually
that.
located right about in the heart of England. Hmm.
Oh my god, what did he want? What does this want me to do?
Well, it doesn't understand that it doesn't matter that it's just a wooden idol. The age, uniqueness of it in relation to history is what makes it valuable,
Well, I mean,
both both monetarily and knowledge based.
as I've been saying very, very often on during the sporking for Atlas Shrugged, value depends on how much people are are willing to pay for it. So,
Fair enough, and I guess if not enough people know about it, it would just be seen probably as another little trinket that might be worth looking into something at some point, but nothing major, I would suppose.
hmm. Hey! Yeah, the game's getting good.
Yep, the game does have a bit of a slow start, but I'm okay with that because, well, I think most horror should have a slow start.
Yeah, it's just kind of boring having to sit through a bunch of cutscenes and.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
fair enough, but once it gets going, it gets going.
Mm. 7 Days was not about friends, okay?
Yeah, none of those people were friends. They weren't even co-workers because no one did their fucking job.
They were a bunch of idiots.
Yeah,
They weren't driven slowly apart by the mutual distrust of the same nightmare. They were driven apart by the fact that everyone in there is a bunch of fucking idiots, and no
you
one
know,
wanted to do their work.
yeah, that whole thing makes a lot more sense.
Hello, Arpeggio, your sound just cut out. Or mine did. I'm not really quite sure yet.
OBS blew up. It looks like.
Yep, I just saw that. But yeah, it cut off after when you were starting to explode. So the sound did.
Yeah.
So what did you say?
I was saying that 7 Days actually kind of does make a bit more sense if you imagine the whole thing was an elaborate insurance scam. That someone took out life insurance policies on the crew and then another policy on the ship, and then just kind of sent them off into the unknown. And it's just like, hey, if anyone dies or anything, you get a payoff. And if they come back, no harm, no foul. Then.
That actually does make a lot of sense. The thing about 7 Days is that it was basically trying to be Alien, except it didn't really. The reason that shit happens in Alien is because they were set up.
Yeah.
7 Days doesn't have that background. It's just everyone's completely incompetent for various reasons.
Yep.
Especially goddamn Adam.
Oh yes.
Silent Hill is not the best game series ever. That would be Fatal Frame. Thank you. Even if the latest game was angst porn.
Splatterhouse is actually a fun series.
Mm.
Just pity the reboot ended up bombing for reasons that ultimately weren't entirely its own fault.
I know there was a way. Hang on, just really quick. Uh, there's a way to hotkey open door if I recall correctly. I just can't remember what it is, so I'm trying to find it. Whatever. His body is here, his soul is not. Alright, so now we get to see the genius architecture of the Clan Bronwyn Hotel. As an aside, this is not how stairs work.
Nope. Nope. Been up enough of them at this point to kind of know.
Chzo love me? Okay. I don't want him to love me. Okay, so that's what Trilby's room is. So, make a mental note that his room is 3-3.
Okay.
Because remember, I tried to get to Trilby's room and I couldn't remember what his room number was.
Oh yeah.
And I wound up like checking every single door.
Yeah, so 3C.
Yep. It's like, I've learned from last time. Let's make mental notes to prevent that from happening again. And OBS is disconnected again. Okay. And we get some papers down here. July 18th, Felicia and I took shelter from the storm in a decrepit old hotel in the forest. It seems to be completely deserted, so we bedded down on the floor of the lobby for the night. It seems so peaceful here. The noise of the storm seems far away. July 19th, exploring the hotel, it has become increasingly clear that the place is not as innocent as it first seemed. We found ancient corpses and evidence of terrible deeds in several of the rooms. The storm has cleared and we intend to leave as soon as possible. July 20th. I am certain now that devilry is at work. Every path we take through the forest brings us back to the hotel. We spent a whole day trying routes to no avail. Felicia keeps talking of a demon she fancies she saw in the hotel kitchen last night. July 21st. Felicia is dead. I was too late to help her. I saw her murderer, just as she did. Perhaps I will be next. I am beginning to understand. July 23rd. The murderous figure in black, the one whose body is savagely stretched into a mockery of form, is not the architect of this nightmare. Rather, this is the work of that hideous lord of the Forbidden Lands. Gods forgive me. July 25th. I built a shrine to my captor in the lobby in an attempt to appease it. Nothing has changed. I have no more food. The horror is starting to affect my mind. Starting to? Okay. July 28th. I am certain my mind is going. I imagined for a moment that the hotel had changed, had become finely decorated and welcoming as it must have been once in the past. I blinked and it returned to its normal hateful self. The next few pages were sprinkled with blood, obscuring some of the text. August 1st. What is his relationship to that disgusting beast? Is he a servant or a prisoner? Sometimes he acts alone, sometimes at the behest of a higher power. What does he want from me? August 3rd. He is after me now. I think I must have done something wrong. August 4th. It hurts. So what, he's just gonna... Magic with a K.
Never been a fan of that.
Magic with a K or...
Yeah, magic with a K. Just leave it at the C.
It's very pretentious.
Yeah. Even in some games and stuff where it seems like it would kind of work, I'm just kind of like, no, this isn't necessary. Like Final Fantasy 12 spells magic like that, and I'm just kind of like, why?
I'm a little bit weirded out because according to the journal entries... Okay, so today in the game is July 28th. The journal entries went past July 28th to August 1st, or August 4th. So at the earliest, this could have been, this body has been here for at least a year. But he can tell that it was a young, muscular man.
It's possible due to the nature of the place that things like normal decay don't take place.
Maybe. I'm willing to think it's more like Yahtzee just didn't think of it, but...
Yeah, but I'm willing to give this game more credit because, you know, good.
Point. Oh, like there's only one evil in the world.
Yes, the sound is actually very, very atmospheric in this part.
Yes, it is.
Very well done. It's also nice where the music doesn't have to try and carry everything, it just enhances things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's safe and comfortable doing.
Alright, so... And there's nothing stopping us from leaving the hotel. other than a closed loop, which is a nice touch.
Yeah, and it did say that in the notes to begin with, and it does make sense for the location. It's just adds to the wrongness and the feeling of being trapped.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a body.
I really do like the tall man in this game. He works very well as an effective villain in this presence.
Yeah, and he's in that nice uncanny valley place, you know?
Yeah. Also, just to throw out to the audience, this game was made before the big Slender.
I think your sound just cut out again. Yes, it did. Yes, but yes, this game was made before the whole Slender Man thing, so. Look, table. If I recall correctly, the Tall Man is actually partially inspired by the Tall Man from Phantasm and this one video game enemy. So.
Hmm. Yeah. You cut out a bit there because the OBS blew up, and apparently it takes Discord down with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I caught the part about tall men inspired by Phantasm, and then enemy from video game, and that was about it.
All I said was, yes, the game was done by made before the whole Slender Man craze. And that OBS had cut out. That was about it.
Yeah. Okay. Works for me.
Alright, so back to the game. Okay, can't go in the kitchen doors. Alright, and now we can go in. Alright, now we have that information from Yahtzee, so let's just look around at everything except the counter.
Yeah, if you restarted the OBS, is broadcasting because it's not popped back up.
It just reconnected.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, there it goes. Right as I say something.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just like when you're sitting in a drive-through waiting on something. When you put your card to park, then you can actually move forward.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and then look counter. Take envelope. Trilby, if you're reading this, then you too have seen the hotel change. At present, I have no idea if the alternative hotel is part of the ethereal realm or some kind of construct, a pocket dimension. There is a definite correlation between one's level of agitation and one's tendency to reality shift. Fear is your enemy. It leaves you shining like a beacon for whatever evil brought us to this place. Enclosed is a bottle of tranquilizers from my personal first aid kit. When you find yourself shifting into the other place, take a pill and try to calm down, and the real hotel will return. Do not let it concern you. I am researching the phenomenon. Your task is to find a foe. Good luck, Agent Linkman. Yahtzee steals a lot from other games for this one, but it works.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's a lot of those other games, especially in the horror genre, tend to build upon each other, either trying to use a mechanic in another way or just doing it because it makes sense for what the story they're trying to tell.
Anyway, take pill. I will say that the anxiety pills in this, the tranquilizers in this game act a lot faster than the ones I've taken before. But it's a video game mechanic, so and
Yeah.
it's a video game mechanic, and this game is actually good, so I can let it pass.
Yeah, and to be fair, most games are going to be like that. It's just kind of like, well, logically, my character would need to go to the bathroom eventually, but I don't want to do that in a fucking game, so we're never going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's No More Heroes, where using the bathroom is the save mechanic. But
I
that's part
wonder
of that
if
game's
that's
quirky
where.
charm.
I wonder if that's where they got that for Absolute Despair Girls.
Hmm.
The save points are, you know, those the training potties that look like ducks.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the save points are in that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a pun against omaru, which is a word for toilet. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that technically Trilby could also use the alcohol in here to ease his anxiety.
Yeah, but he's already taken a tranquilizer, and I imagine you don't want to mix that with alcohol.
Well, given how many tranquilizers he winds up taking over the course of the entire game.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hey, there we go. Finally got a hallucination going on.
Mm.
So yeah, the hallucinations are well, Yahtzee already explained how the mechanic works exactly. Once you've seen a hallucination, you won't repeat it. So if the invisible counter hits the hallucination thing, and it rolls a hallucination you've already gotten, that means that you won't have a hallucination again, and it'll just reset. Which means that over the course of the game, you wind up having fewer and fewer hallucinations. I've never played Eternal Darkness, and I probably should.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. I've heard nothing but good things about it for the most part,
Mm.
but yeah, I never got around to sitting around playing it, and it's kind of hard to get a hold of nowadays because, one, it was made by Silicon Knights, and they've kind of gone kaput by this point, and it was only available on the GameCube.
Yeah, they actually did try to make an Eternal Darkness 2 crowdfunding, but it did not go through.
Yeah, that's because the head guy of it had kind of had his ego go out of control and ran things into the ground, and they
Joy.
burnt it. Yeah, they burnt most of their goodwill by the time that Kickstarter started, so everyone was basically just like, fuck off.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey guys, remember how during the 5 days of Stranger, I kept saying I kept reading June as July? Well, this is why.
Retcons!
It works.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what happened. Eh. Sorry, I was just looking up Silicon Knights. I was just like, were they the ones that did that really stupid thing? Yes, they were.
What was the really stupid thing?
So they released the games T-Human and X-Men Destiny, and it was they had rented out the Unreal Engine from Epic Games, but they didn't like the initial engine, so they decided they would go in and change things around in the coding to make it more to their liking.
Did you just say
Uh,
too human?
yes,
Oh fuck.
yeah, that was the head guy's baby, even though that game was bad. But So yeah, they decided after that that the new engine that they were using was not the Unreal Engine at all, and totally 100% theirs, and thus they should not
Oh
have to pay any more royalties to Epic Games, and in fact
god.
should be refunded to Epic Games. Epic Games did not take this well and sued them. And once they went digging in the code, they found that there was still original Unreal Engine 3 code in there, therefore still under propriety to Epic Games, and therefore Epic won the suit. All copies of unsold copies of T-Human and X-Men Destiny were to be recalled and destroyed, and Silicon Knights went kaput.
Wow, it takes skill to fuck up that bad.
Yeah, their head guy, when he was not being uh,
Himself.
kept on a leash, well, no, he when they made Eternal Darkness, Miyamoto and Iwata kept him on a short leash and kept his ego from getting out of control because you know
Bless you,
you don't
Wata.
talk back to them. Um, but once they decide to leave, yeah, bad things happened.
Awkward.
Indeed.
You, the writing in this is so much better that, as Yahtzee points out, that little exchange there really shows the relationship between Roderick and his son. Probably because African gods and their idols are not well documented in England at this point.
Yep.
Since this is
I can
presumably.
also imagine the idol probably has a slight hypnotic influence that makes you probably associate it with things that you probably normally wouldn't, just to kind of entice you in a
Hmm.
bit more to actually pick it up because I mean to be fair, that's just the thing that just makes sense to me.
Which make well, it does and it doesn't because given how the tall man kills everyone that touches his idol, it's like I don't know what to make of this. Would you mind googling what the difference between artifact and artifact is? I'm just kind of wondering. And now I want brandy. Yes, 18th? Yes, 18th century England with a welding mask, a leather apron, and a machete. I'm not sure why there's a machete in the kitchen, or a welding mask for that matter, but it's a thing.
Uh, the artifact with the E is just a British spelling
Okay.
that's just kind of taken up. It's like the more standard spelling is still common in British English. It's just the other version has kind of picked up over the years, apparently, from what I'm seeing here.
Okay.
but otherwise they mean the exact same thing. It's just difference between the dialects of English, essentially.
The gar- the welding mask belongs to the gardener. I I think that the mistake here was trying to explain this.
Yeah, I think it might have been better if it just was one of those things that showed up. It's like, why is this here? It just is.
So, we've seen that John Defoe um, was chained to the wall in the bottom of the basement. So, how exactly did he get up to the door to knock?
Might have eventually slipped his chains or something.
I mean, if he was skinny enough.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Um, why does her pantry lead to the back room? Or the backyard?
Maybe it was a part of the house that was an add-on that was torn down later. I don't know.
Yeah, so, this makes absolutely no sense if you think about it. Because the antiquarian said that the mysterious artifact could only have come that he did not recognize could only have come from a tribe that died out. So obviously that somehow rules out that it was from this tribe that. Oh God, my head. Nope, 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 no, 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 no.
I mean, it is possible that the artificer may have actually been a fraud or something. So.
Antiquarian, but yeah, I think.
Yeah.
What is an artificer? To Google again?
Yeah, to Google. Oh right, that's a character class in D&D.
Got your wires crossed?
Apparently. What the fuck do they do again? Oh yeah, they're basically like magic inventors. They make artifacts that do things for them and fuse magic into them.
I do like that little IC that Roderick says when he finds out that Matthew gave the picture to his deformed brother instead.
Yeah, I see is kind of one of those phrases that can herald a lot of very bad things.
Mm-hmm. Did a lot of research into decor and costumes, still had a welding mask.
Mm.
Living la vida loca. Push and pull you down. Living la vida loca. And it just disconnected again.
I think OBS blew up again.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch, once I have the sound down. This will make more sense in the next game, I promise. No, it won't. It really won't. That is a goddamn lie.
Yeah, nothing about the next game. No, just cut that shit off and just pretend it doesn't exist. Because it really shouldn't. Because it's bad. Oh God, it's bad.
We'll get there. God,
Yeah,
will
but
we get there.
yeah, but God, we don't want to.
Okay, and show available networks. Change connection properties. Okay, and disable that one. Alright, that should do it. It's disconnecting, but it's going to reconnect. I had to switch from the Ethernet to my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
That should take care of it. But yeah, the next game explains nothing. It is bullshit and should not exist.
Yeah, it was clearly trying to retcon all three games into making sense as like a series, but it does it so badly. Oh, so badly.
And it thinks the staplers work as fuses.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Because I'm not letting that go either.
Yeah. Also, someone that's had a major neck injury and in a partial body cast can totally move around freely and do shit.
Yeah, we'll get to that whole mess. Oh
Yeah.
God, are we gonna get there? There we go. Reconnection successful. It's not much of a convention hall. It's really more like a room.
Yep.
Okay. Now that that's done, look, painting again. Yep, so while Trilby was having his little episode, someone came up, stuck a piece of paper under the painting for him to read, and then walked off. Victim 5, the child. The fifth man who desired judgment was the child whose father held the carving of the slave. The prince came to him and was at once rightly pleased with what he had found, for the house of the child and his father already knew well the name of the king. And as the prince watched, the child was thrown down by his father and broken with the wood of the prince's soul. But as the child's body and mind and soul began to drift apart, the prince held them together, and he said, "You are the child, and to you I grant power, for I see in you the potential that will grant my father, the king, his greatest wish. You shall not be of the land of technology, nor of the realm of magic, but of both, and thus you shall form the bridge. And across the bridge the king shall come to bring his message to the men of technology. Through you, child, the bridge will come, and thus I name you the bridge keeper." And the prince touched the child, and he was the bridge keeper, and his three aspects were granted power, so that his soul would join with the prince's soul in the wood of the tree. And the bridge keeper rose up and threw down his father and threw down his brother, and truly did they know the name of the king. And in the house of his father went the body and mind of the bridge keeper. Okay, so to be clear, first, know the name of the king is a euphemism in this series for dying. This piece clarifies that John Defoe did not actually survive the beating that his father gave him. He came back as a wraith, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came
Although,
back as a wraith and killed them, and then buried their bodies, and then apparently ran upstairs and decided to dig a hole in the bathroom and bury himself there. And it's not exactly well planned here.
yeah, it's like, man, the first game could need a remake to bring itself more in line with this one, and then we could just have a duology of decent games instead of a quadrilogy of one really good one and then one really mediocre one and two fucking awful ones.
Okay, so look, counter, take matchbook, take matches. That works. Alright, so for this we need to... Oh, which one was the one that had the fire alarm in it? Well, I don't suppose it matters.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully all these hallways have a fire... There we go. Good. Good enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know.
So yeah, that opens the fire escape door.
Good on him for actually catching that and
Yeah.
avoiding an unwinnable situation. Because that would suck.
Well, he had actual game testers for this one, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Alright, and then take the crowbar. And by the way, notice that this fire escape leads to a closed yard that has a fence around it. This is not good planning.
Yeah.
Like, the game is better, but it's definitely still a Chzo Mythos game.
Yeah, although, again, in me giving credit, it may be a side effect of the other world subtly influencing this one, so that things that normally wouldn't be done are, and people don't really question it because they just don't notice it.
And see, I'm willing to give it that because this game is actually good.
Yeah.
Other than the really stupid staircase design.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be over that either.
yeah. I'm really thinking that's probably just a side effect of just the layout of the game, and that was probably the easiest way to do it. It still is weird, but I guess that would be my most likely guess as to why it's like that.
Oh no, I have to go out there anyway, so. Alright, so what we need to do is use crowbar.
I was gonna say, I remember that these panels were broken at some point.
Okay. Take the pill. Because in the real world, this door is locked, and we can't get into it, so we have to go in through the dark world. Take pill, and then open door, and voila.
I actually like that as a mechanic. It's
Mm.
a good way to circumnavigate places that are blocked off.
And it's creative, you know. So.
Yeah. It does remind me quite a bit of A Link to the Past, where you have to find places in the dark world in order to shift back to the light one in order to gain access to places you otherwise couldn't.
And we're going to pick up the soft drink. Or we're going to walk closer and then take the soft drink. Take soda. Yeah, so basically you can drink the soda to automatically bump up your anxiety level high enough to switch hotels. I'm trying to smooth this out a little bit. Look, paintings. Okay. Look, chair. I don't know why you chose to sleep in there, but okay.
I envy people that can sleep in a sitting up position because this is just something I cannot do, and I have tried.
I had an ex-boyfriend that said that he and they we were on a school trip thing, and we had to stay in a hotel for a room, and apparently he slept in the armchair, and I did not understand how he could do that.
Yeah, the same thing here. In a trip to New York, it was forward to a room. One of I got one of the beds, another of my friends got the other. Third one just slept in between us, and then my other friend just slept in the armchair, and he was able to do it fine. And I've tried doing it, and I've done it in chairs that are fairly comfortable, but I just cannot fall asleep sitting up.
I'm actually more impressed that you managed to sleep in a room. You slept three to a bed. Because all the guys in my
No, it wasn't three to a bed. There was two beds. Each of us got one, and then one person slept in between the beds on the floor in the sleeping bag.
Why can't you guys just share the damn bed?
Because they weren't that big of beds.
I don't care. Y'all just whatever. I'm not gonna get started on that.
Also, we were like juniors in high school. Okay.
Look, if I can we slept the girls all had two beds. We both slept two to a bed. You guys have to sleep on tables and stuff. Okay, I don't understand it.
To be fair, nowadays I'd be just like, fuck it, just do it. I can deal with it, but I don't have a problem with it anymore, and I could probably do it, but I don't know if my friends could.
Man, y'all got issues.
Maybe.
Touch chisel. Where the fuck is this chisel? Okay, there it is. So I need to be here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Again, I have to look at the
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to look at the Twitch screen to see what the hell I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, I'll leave that alone.
It's just not worth it. His great house was ruin. I don't think that's proper grammar there.
I would have. It kind of feels like it is, but I could be wrong.
It depends on what sense of ruin they mean.
Yeah.
Ruined would sound better though.
Yeah.
Also, I will give Yahtzee credit for getting the history correct here. A lot of the intra African slave trade was basically rival African tribes selling each other into slavery for weapons.
Yep. Yep. They were just like, we conquered these. We don't need these. Have these and give us things in return.
Hmm.
And that's just how it went.
Which doesn't excuse, all of white Europe's bullshit, but it, it this part is actually correct.
Yeah.
Now, this part I have a hard time swallowing because I know what the African slave trade was like, and y'all didn't give a shit about how the slaves were. I mean, there were lots of dead bodies in those slaves once the trip was over, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was a particularly green crew who had learned the unethical behaviors of what they're actually supposed to be doing.
Or they just really wanted to make a profit.
Mm.
And yes, England did uh, stop participating in slave trade earlier than most of the other white countries. That doesn't stop them from being extremely racist, but
Yeah, well, I mean, steps have to start somewhere, and that was at least a good one.
mm-hmm. Ironically, it's sort of funny because if I recall correctly, the turning point was where a slave ship basically they found out that they weren't going to make a profit on their slaves, and so they threw the entire group overboard to try and declare it as a loss insurance
Hmm.
scam. This did not work.
Yeah. Uh, Britain was probably around that time starting to heavily industrialize too, and industrialization is one of the big deterrents to slavery, just because it's like that
You
shit's
don't
not
need it.
efficient.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't need it. It's pointless.
plantations, yes, but not industrialization, which is why the northern part of the U.S. didn't have that kind of. But
Yeah,
again, didn't stop them from being horribly racist. But
oh yeah, that was kind of one of the weird things. Post Civil War and after the initial wave of Jim Crow laws, it kind of ended up being a case of the North was more racist than the South in a lot of ways by
well,
that
I
point.
wouldn't say North was more racist, but they were racist in a different way because they just wanted to ship them all back to Africa,
Yeah.
which most of those people weren't even from Africa anymore. So it's like,
Yep. So instead, they were just like, well, this property over here has low land value. Let's go stick them all over there
mm-hmm.
Because if you stuck them in a white neighborhood, you brought down the property values of everything.
Yep. Yeah, I think Senseless had a whole thing about redlining earlier in Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah. It was also very easy for a white person to get completely ostracized if they were even remotely friendly to someone of color and like invited them to their home and someone else saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hostile environment, not a good thing.
I mean, basically, I'm not gonna make any allusion, but basically, racism has never stopped being a problem. Is the
No,
thing.
and it never will, just due to human nature. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing we can do is strive to work against it and try and recognize it in ourselves, because we all have it in ourselves in some way, and work to overcome it.
Okay, can't go over that way. Okay, where is closer to the ladder? There we go.
I'm actually looking up Clipper because it's one of those terms I've heard for a lot of ships, and I'm just like, I don't know exactly what you mean by
It's
that type
normally
of
a
ship.
smaller ship.
Yeah.
They're small light ships that are they're built for speed, basically.
Yeah, it is, and I was just wondering if they were just kind of a catch-all term for like sloops and merchant vessels, or if they were an actual name for a ship type.
So yeah, now that's we have the idol, which apparently Mbota carved out of the corner of the crate. Yahtzee's still not very good at. And people are dead. And I have to admit that the first time I saw this, I thought that he was churning butter or something. That's all I could see. It looks like he's either churning butter or mopping. And you know, I used to watch stuff like It and things like that, so that seemed perfectly it seemed fitting. It seemed like something you'd see from Freddy Krueger or Jason or something, because it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Hmm.
Alright, so take paper. Victim 4, the slave. The fourth man who desired judgment was the slave who had not been brought Freehorn's message, and who tormented the wood that was the prince's soul with a sharpened blade. The prince came to him, and he struck the slave down, and he knew the name of the king. And the prince said, "Not one of your household shall I leave behind alive, slave, for you thrice have, for now thrice, or so, for thrice now have I brought my warning, and any who still fail to heed shall be named as fool and judged most unworthy in our sight." I don't think that's how religion works, but okay.
To be fair, the prince is kind of a self-centered asshole, so
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong at all. Again.
yeah. So it's more of a case of he's taking it as a personal slight and just using his position to make it sound far, far, far more dignified than it actually is. Which, honestly, I find fine because, well, evil is petty.
Okay, well, I was gonna ask about the shipping company, but it won't let me, so okay. Now, Yahtzee's gone on record as saying that the hotel workers are not actually disappearing into the other hotel and getting sacrificed. It's just a coincidence that there are fresh bodies everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So either, and in Quovac's LP, he basically disregards it and said, "Okay, no, that doesn't make sense. It's just they really are just disappearing into the other world." The other option is that since this happens every single year, maybe they just, it's kind of like Hotel 1408.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to stay there and risk their lives, that's fine. Otherwise, we're just going to make sure that our hotel workers stay safe and we're not liable.
Yeah. Which, fair enough, is the thing that makes sense, especially if, like I was saying before, some of the designs of the building probably don't make sense, but there's other things that are probably at least getting attention. Because, someone disappearing, it's kind of hard to miss that after a little bit.
People disappearing on one specific day of the year, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she went up to her room, and I was not paying attention to what room that was. So, I'm just gonna have to.
Yeah, because Trilby's is 3C, so I can rule that out at the very least.
Yeah.
But
Give me 1 second here. Equal opportunity violence. Oh, I will note that Kovac did ask a question I guess I missed. Did Abed say something about Trilby drinking?
uh, he mentioned Savan drinking and wondering why she did it so much, but I don't remember him saying anything about Trilby drinking.
Okay, basically you can ask if you can have Trilby ask Abed if the hotel's changed at all, and basically Abed starts asking, have you been hitting the bottle here, dude?
Hmm.
Alright. Okay, 2A. That is not the game window. Alright, so that's 1A. 2. Okay, here we go. So yeah, if it's not obvious, Siobhan's trying to seduce Trilby. Because we can't stop fapping over Trilby.
Still prefer it to what happens in the next game because that shit made no fucking sense.
In any way. In any way.
Yeah,
Psychologically, physically, narratively.
yeah, it's just
Can I punch Yahtzee?
go for it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, he does put two women in his next game.
Yeah, and both of them are completely useless.
Yeah. Oh dear God, are they
Don't
useless?
don't. We'll wait until we get to that one before we start on that her particular mess.
Yeah.
It's not worth getting wound up about right now.
Yeah.
Boy, this is awkward.
Hmm.
No, 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 no. It is not glamorous, lady. I want to ask if Yahtzee's ever written someone with a woman with a functioning brain in her head, but to be fair, I don't think he's written anyone with a functioning brain in their head, so.
Yeah. If I'm being a bit more generous, she may also be a bit buzzed right now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, being drunk is not the best condition to be making decisions in.
yeah, no, it's not.
If he keeps going, this will be answered in the next game. I'm gonna wind up finding some way to kick him through the game.
Yeah, it's like no, no, nothing from next game. You know, let's enjoy this while he's still good villain in this game.
And competent.
Yeah.
And logical. Ish. Just gonna save really quick. Alright, so check bag. Open backpack. No, this is not the jerkiest thing Trilby's ever done. That would be letting Simone and James think he died, and dealing with the following survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
How did the loss of one of their ships drive the company into bankruptcy?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's not going to be just like, oh, barely a blip on the radar, but unless they were transporting like something super fucking valuable and they fucked up royally by losing the ship, no, it's one of those things. It's like it definitely would hurt because you know a
Investors.
ship, yeah, and also a ship and a crew are actually kind of hard to replace. It's like, yeah, you may be able to get another one, but it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the loss of losing the ship and having to get a new one and a replacement crew. And you also got to think about it depends on how good that particular crew was. If they were reliable at making bank, yeah, you don't want to really lose that.
It's a harpsichord, but whatever. And it looks more like a piano, obviously. Honestly.
Yeah,
Which I actually don't mind because I love harpsichord music, and we're gonna get some of the best tracks here in a minute. So definitely
yep.
no complaints here. Also, if it's not obvious, Jack and his friend are lovers. So. Also, Jack's friend actually lives with him, so I'm not really. It kind of doesn't seem like it from this conversation.
Yeah.
Also, from how his friend is dressed, I don't really know. I mean, I guess he could be walking around in a cane and full outfit, just around the house, but.
It may have just gotten in from something else and just hasn't had time to change or anything.
Yeah. Again, willing to let it slide because this game is actually good.
Yep. I could see that.
And it's time for the best track in the whole game. Jack saw no reason to engage in violence. Well, let me change your mind here for you. Are you serious? Shoot, tall man. There. I mean, to be fair, he's absolutely in character for Capadap to just not give a shit about who he's torturing.
Yeah.
You might prefer death, dude.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, back then that might not have counted as a double bed. It just would have counted as a really rich man's bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say that is one thing that could be added to this game would be a notebook to keep track of things and have
It'd
it
be
as kind of a
thematically
log.
appropriate too.
Oh, yeah, it would.
Victim 3, Freehorn. The third man who desired judgment was Freehorn, who had bought from those who made luxuries with the wood that was the prince's soul. The prince came and struck down the lover of Freehorn, and Freehorn knew the name of the king. So it's a metaphor. It's a euphemism for death, but not necessarily your death.
Mm-hmm.
And Freehorn said, I know you now, O Prince who was the arrogant man, and I anticipate your wish, and I will devote myself to spreading the teachings you have brought me and the love of our king. And the prince was satisfied, and Freehorn called all those who would listen, and they formed an order of blessed agonies that would work to redeem the follies of the men of technology. We're going to really regret that part next time.
Yep. Such an interesting idea for this part.
So
And
poorly
then,
carried out.
yeah.
Okay, so okay, that was convenient. And Langman just kind of teleports through.
Well, to be fair, Yahtzee, it also probably has to do with the fact that it could be that Lenman was just a hallucination by Trilby at this point. He is in the dark world.
Yep. So it's also possible that Linkman just isn't bothered by the dark world too. So it's like it's
Yep.
sort of in the air what's going on, and that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so so this is what happens if you walk into these beetles. And that's why we're not going to do that. Okay, so what we have to do is we need to get a piece of meat.
Kind of reminds me of the scarabs from the Mummy movies.
I mean, they're probably based on that kind of.
More than likely, yeah.
Alright, there we go. Or you're just getting adjusted to them. That's also a possibility here. You could find some booze. If you grab the booze from earlier, you'd be all set. Alright, so we use the meat to lure the flesh-eating beetles away. And then look body. So we're gonna do the stupid thing and drink this water. Alright. That is a single bottle of wine that we can't actually pick up right now, so. I can just go up. Yay, I can just go up. Seriously, the lines really do seem to be implying that the hotel hotel staff is just disappearing into the other world, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, might be another case of that disconnect that happens between what someone intends and then what they end up showing. You may have intended for them to just not be disappearing, but what you're showing implies that they're disappearing and being wiped out.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure her intention was to seduce me away from you, but whatever.
Well, most people would think would probably end up thinking that he was having an episode, which I mean, yeah, he kind of is. But at the same time, given the location, I could also imagine that it probably amplifies a person's negative traits.
Whatever. Just touch shingle. Ask about shingle. Okay, ask to touch shingle. Are you fucking serious? Okay, what does this thing want me to do?
The unfortunate weakness of the text parser. What exactly do you need me to say?
Ask a bed about unicorn. Okay, there we go. Jesus fucking Christ. To assess the texture. That's an actual thing that he just said. Trilby is an amazingly shitty liar.
Never read any of the Tintin books.
I used to watch the cartoon. Does that count?
Possibly. I didn't actually know that there was a cartoon series, although I guess that makes sense.
And yes, this guy is supposed to be related to Malcolm Somerset and Dr. Somerset from the last game. We're gonna pretend that's not actually a thing, though.
Yep. We'll just say he has the last name Somerset because that's the county in England he's from.
Yes, that works
Somerset.
fine.
Yep.
Yes. That is totally why it has nothing to do with an incredibly shitty game.
Hmm.
It's sort of annoying that we have to put in who we're talking to, especially when there's only one person in the room.
Yeah, that would make more sense if there were more people in the room at a time, but when there's only one, you figure maybe it could be programmed to ignore that particular requirement.
Hmm. 'm not actually going to do anything about my forthcoming death, though. I'm just going to stick around in here. 4 times I have to ask this damn question. Oh, there's the smoke. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of seeping through there, but
I mean, technically, smoke should be just filling the whole room, you know?
yeah.
So it's like, you should have just added a filter. Alright, so, going back up here. Take sheet. Trilby, I know you are following a trail. Go to the roof if you wish to proceed. Lankman. It's too much use of double bluff, plus we don't actually get any interaction with him. We don't really build up a rapport with him, so he's not sympathetic.
Yeah, that's the game does have its few failings, and that's kind of one of them. It's why I think it'd be nice if the first game and this one remade to clean up a few little loose ends, kind of tie things in together, and
Just
then
send
forget
it
the
to
other
me
two
so
ever
bad.
happened. Yeah.
Victim 2, the innkeeper. The second man who desired judgment was the innkeeper, who had bought the wood of the tree and built from it his house. The prince came to him and his guests, and he struck the innkeeper down, and the innkeeper knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the innkeeper's guest, and he said, You I shall not let live, for once before have I made this warning, and still my soul aches with what is done to the wood that is my soul, and I will spare no man who injures me in this way. And the innkeeper's guest knew the name of the king. Okay, so now we have to go do a puzzle. Let's see. Take leg. Take arm.
Pardon.
No problem. Y'all can hear us both okay? And Arpeggio sniffles.
Yeah, I'm trying to fight off. Feels like another sneeze is kind of coming up, but it's in that infuriating state where it's just like, maybe I'll make you sneeze, or maybe I won't.
Siobhan's room had slipped into the shadow world. The walls and floors were filthy, and the furniture had been replaced with instruments of... Is that a body?
Uh, half of one, I think.
Take arm. A fast travel system wouldn't be too bad either. At least as long as I know where we're going here, but...
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I need to go all the way to the other side of the hotel now, and it's... Trilby is not fast. The other thing is I can't remember which hotel I need to be in. Oh wait, I think this was where it was. Yes. Okay, that's everything. And boy, it's getting annoying having to type open door over and over.
Yep. Another thing, like the text parser definitely works better than the other UI, but it can probably be kind of combined with a few other things,
Mm-hmm.
or just readapt the UI to be better in regards to having a larger screen and things like that. This is the part where you need to go get that wine bottle, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The one bottle that we can't actually pick up until this point because we've been
Mm.
flagged and blah 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 blah. You doubt that you could. Oh my. Yes, you were very fond of him with how you were pretty much a manipulative asshole.
Yeah, it probably would have been better if rather than say that it's like, well, I may have wanted to,
I didn't
well,
want
I
him
may
to
have been
die.
using, yeah, I may have been using the man, but I never wished any full harm on him. Probably would work better for the anti-hero angle that Trilby works at.
Wait, no. just trying to trigger some more hallucinations. This will be relevant shortly. There we go. That's the one I wanted. I never wanted to see that place again, but
Yeah.
okay. So despite everything out there being blue, only the light blue part is the actual water. The darker blue part and the medium blue parts are land.
Hmm. That might make more sense if it looked like it was actually nightfall rather than, I don't know, like 4 in the afternoon or something.
So yeah, it's a bit clearer with this background what parts are land and what parts are not.
Yeah.
Trilby, this is not the time for an I told you so. It's Trilby. He's not allowed to be competent for more than 5 seconds. Trilby, I am very close to ending this. Meet me in the hotel basement. I must show you my discovery. Lankman. Because that's not suspicious at all. The Book of Victims. Victim 1, the woodcutter. He fucking entrenches. Whatever. The first of those against whom the prince sought vengeance was the woodcutter, he who had held the axe that first felled the tree. The prince came to him and his son, and he struck the woodcutter down, and the woodcutter knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the woodcutter's son, and he said, You I shall let live, for you are young and of the innocent, and that you may go among your people and tell them of what I will wrought. That is not proper grammar. Those are two different tenses. And the woodcutter's son fled and told all of what he had seen, but the men of technology are arrogant and his words were unheeded. I mean, really the only reason Lankman's plan is working here is because Trilby's an idiot.
Yep.
It's also only working because apparently the Special Talents Project can't be bothered to send two people on a mission, even it's a particularly dangerous mission.
Yeah, like I said, like we were kind of talking about earlier, if we had more interaction with Linkman, and it seemed like he actually was a member of the Special Talents Project, but also a double agent,
Ministry of Occultism.
or yeah, but it kind of helped make clear that he was a double agent a bit more, and then he could be like sharing information with Trilby, and Trilby not really putting two and two together just because he does seem like he is there to help, and then you know get screwed over.
Yep. The game suffers a little bit from the brevity. And the beetles are gone, so we can crawl through here.
I actually do like the shifting effect here. It is a very nice touch.
It's well done.
Yep.
It also kind of reminds me aesthetically of Fatal Frame, so that's always a good thing for me. Touch, stump. Yeah. So, how do I put this? So this is kind of... I can't not think of the elimination of the of the indigenous people of um, the British Isles without thinking of Mists of Avalon now.
Yeah.
And so basically this whole thing is related to that stuff that we kind of heard about, how the Avalonian people were being oppressed, but we never actually saw it. We're actually getting to see it kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it really, really is. God, that fucking book is awful.
Yes, it is. It is a never-ending parade of awful.
Yeah.
By the way, did you finally catch up on it?
I think I still need to read like the latest chapter, but I had been caught up on it for a little bit now.
Okay. Now you just need to catch up on, what was it, Atlas Shrugged and Tufui Ego Eris?
Yeah, I need to read the latest entries from them too. I just haven't sat down and done it. Might do that later on. Yeah.
I'd have something extremely alcoholic in hand while doing so.
Yeah, sadly I don't drink.
You're gonna you did after you read that stuff because
Yeah, I
holy
know. It's not
shit.
going to be the first time, won't be the last.
Well, I'm assuming the off-center lines represent your mind because it's driving me crazy. Oh, obviously Pinhead was a pretty big influence on the Tall Man too.
Yeah, you can definitely see that.
And really on this whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
mythology. Don't do it. And Belenus is the Celtic god of fire, so that's why.
Mm. Did not know that,
Mhm.
though I'm not really familiar with much in the way of the
Yay.
gods of Celtic myth or anything like that.
I mean, basically all I know is I'm very loosely aware of the Celtic ones. Mostly I know
Mm.
about Brigitte and all them.
Mm.
And that's when I'm not getting it mixed up with voodoo, as you can see.
Mm.
Boy, this is not gonna end well for you, and it usually does not.
Yeah, but it does highlight that how he's a very, very arrogant person.
Which is why he's called the Arrogant Man.
Yep.
The animation for him getting pulled off is just kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of the facial expression that they've got there. It's just like it's supposed to be terrified, but
It's.
the bits just don't quite work.
It looks like he's lost his hands too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not great animation, but um, on the plus side, the cutscene's finally over. On the minus side, we're in another one.
Hmm.
The writing here is good, but oh my god, these fucking cutscenes.
Yeah, could be a little bit snappier in transitions and things like that, or find some way to trim the fat.
Mm. Or just make them more interactive.
Yeah.
Nice to see a friendly face. In what universe? And, like, if there was any doubt that Linkman was an evil asshole before now, it's gone.
Mm.
Because he's a villain and he can't help monologuing.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that he did thing to at least, keep the music going during this area. Because I'm trying to imagine it, just flipping on and off with every shift, and it would be either very annoying or very funny.
Yeah.
Also, why doesn't Trilby have some kind of weapon?
Yeah, that's does raise a few questions. I think he'd at least have a knife or something on him.
Mm-hmm. A knife, a taser, pepper spray,
Yeah.
a billy club,
Yeah, that would be useful.
or something that, even just a flashlight, like a magnite light flashlight.
Yeah, good flashlight that's heavy enough can be easily used as a bludgeon.
Mm. And you could legally bring it on whatever. So
Yeah.
woo. And Trilby still can't stop talking even when he's injured.
To be fair, maybe in the past tense, and he's just recalling how it felt.
Well, yeah, this is like all past tense. This is him recalling this, but it's still funny.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Staggering ineptitude. He's not wrong. So what exactly was Siobhan doing when we got stabbed? She just stood around waiting for Linkman to tie her up and gag her?
Possibly. He may have just overpowered her because she's still probably at least buzzed a little bit. Combined with the fact she's probably mentally exhausted by this point. Might be
She can
slightly
still
concussed.
kick him in the face.
Yeah. She also might be slightly concussed from being kicked earlier, so.
So basically, this boils down to it's Trilby's fault for the most part. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, which, fair enough, but, I
Well,
mean.
Trilby, plus she thought that crawling through a dark hole was a good idea. After crawling through, walking through Hell Hotel.
Yeah.
Alright. I will say this is my best. I think this is the best part of the whole game.
Yeah, it is definitely a very solid sequence.
And it should be. I mean, it's the climax, so.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll have to suffice as a soul. Yeah, that's perfect. That's what you want to do for half-assing rituals is a bad idea.
Oh yes. Oh yes, yes.
At some point, I'm going to play Fatal Frame 4, which is since it's a Wii game, I won't have the problems I've had when I did Maiden of Blackwater, because I won't have to constantly flip between the gamepad screen and the actual game screen.
Yeah.
And Fatal Frame 4 is basically, we have this lost ritual that we don't know how to do, but we're going to try and half-ass it and see if it works. It goes about as well as you would expect.
Yeah, it's like, guys, you need to dump a lot of use magic device to pull that shit off.
Mm-hmm. Ask Linkman about Tall Man. Ask Linkman about Defoe. Ask Linkman about Trilby. Ask Linkman about a bed. Ask Linkman about tree. I mean, if he's willing to answer all these questions, may as well take advantage.
Yep.
Do you want to go ahead and continue to the last one tonight, or?
Let's enjoy the cooldown, and then we'll just take that one all in one go and take it out with one final knockout.
That really is it's a good puzzle.
Yeah, it is.
Like, they do hit you over the, he does hit you over the head with the solution, but it works so well here.
Yeah, it really does.
Yes, and they've actually been really good mind games. Just too bad you couldn't keep it up.
Yeah. It's like this, and again, despite this game's hiccups here and there, it's still a really good game.
Mm-hmm. Like, it has flaws, but they don't hold it back from, it doesn't really decrease the quality that much. It's just more like nitpicking.
Yeah, it's just like,
Literally every other game in this series.
yeah, it's just kind of like, well, this could have been done a bit better, or maybe this could have been added and would have helped things out, and little bits here and there, a couple grammar mistakes that could be fixed.
Yeah, this didn't really need to be in here.
Yeah, especially given the revelations about all of this, which, I'm just gonna kind of go ahead and flip the screen the double bird right now.
Preemptively.
Yeah.
Before we start 6 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should probably hold off probably until another night to do 6 days. Don't want to sour this immediately.
Fair enough.
Give it time to savor the good.
Alright. That works out, because that way, if we do it next week, then I can actually get some brandy for this. Because, God. Oh, God.
That'll be fun. Not only will we be doing a shit game, but you'll be buzzed and I'll be sober. And from my previous experiences with my friends, that leads to a lot of humor.
I hope I'll be buzzed by the time. I probably won't be buzzed till later in the game, but oh god, that fucking
To
game.
be fair, the further you go in that one, the more drunk you want to be.
Yes, this is true.
Because it starts off like at a -5 and then just keeps going further and further down.
Literally, the only reason we didn't score it as bad as 7 days was because the ending wasn't quite as stupid.
Yeah. Although in some ways, I think 6 days at this point is worse, just because it comes after this one.
Mm. Yeah, Yahtzee knew what he was doing by then, but when he phones it in, he really phones it in.
Yeah.
That's not actually how dying works, but whatever. It's a good. I'm willing to ignore it for this game.
Yeah, and he could have been clinically dead, but not biologically dead.
Mhm.
Since if you're clinically dead, you can be revived. In this case, it'd be more likely by defibrillator and not CPR, but,
Well,
you
it
know.
depends on what exactly the problem was. Defibrillator is when your heart's in fibrillation, which is why it's
Mm,
called a defibrillator. If your heart is stopped, then you want to use CPR because you're trying to
yeah.
get it to start up again.
It would be rough in this situation because he has a knife wound in his side. So you'd need to at least bind that fairly good so you don't end up just killing them completely due to the heavy blood loss.
I mean, he already was dying from blood loss. It's probably part of why his um, heart stopped. And okay, no, I'm not. I'm not thinking about it. This is a good game. I'm not gonna think about it.
Yeah.
Also, notice that Trilby's desk is suddenly different than it was earlier in the game.
He may have got a promotion and maybe it's another desk or something. I don't know.
Or it's from a different angle, I guess. But
That too. I actually do really like the shadowed shot of Trilby here, although that may have something to do with my love of Darkest Dungeon, and it uses that same shadowed effect for any character's eyes. Uh, Basically, anyone human, their eyes are not visible in any way. They're either obstructed by mask or helmet, or they're shadowed like that.
okay.
If something has eyes, it's inhuman and an enemy and things like that. It really works for the art style and everything.
Do not send that thing to space.
No, no. What actually happened is they locked it up in a similar place to where they keep the Ark of the Covenant from the Indiana Jones thing. That's what happened. You know, got locked up in there. They were coming out again. Maximum security, and everyone just kind of vacates on July 28th and comes back after midnight. Make sure it's there, and life goes on.
We really don't want this to happen.
No, we don't want the sequel.
Either sequel.
Nope.
And yeah, here, Cabadath is literally using Lincoln as a meat puppet here to talk. And he has the waistcoat in his other hand.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, so he did point it out. Okay, good. An important part of the next game that was really stupid.
Yeah, yeah, but no, just
Blocking it
uh,
out.
uh,
Blocking it out.
I can think of like 50 other good reasons to have a blood sample that don't involve the plot points from the next game that the Order could use. You know, plenty of rituals that involve tracking someone using their blood. So.
Capita definitely deserved to be called the Arrogant Man.
Yep.
God, this music's so amazing.
Yep. Very, very nice. Mark Lovegrove, you did a true labor of love for this, and it worked out so well.
It couldn't save the next game, though.
Yeah, it's like you came back for the next game, but
Nothing can save that one.
no.
See, we actually had playtesters for this one, that's why. We had some
Yeah.
things not terrible in it.
Yeah, not a lot of them, but it's enough for a game this size to actually get some stuff done.
And we could probably, like I said, we could probably credit having actual playtesters to why Yahtzee fixed that thing with the fire escape.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's a thing that I can imagine missing, like, my first time if I was programming something and then being like, oh, fuck me, right, I should probably fix that.
Yeah, it'd be something I wouldn't notice, but then some people would probably test. It's the kind of thing that other people would test, but not me because I know how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So, alright then. Well, that was Trilby's notes, and we're gonna bask in how good that one was, and next up is 6 days of sacrifice, and holy shit, is that gonna suck.
It's like, you've seen the high point, now get ready for the fucking dive.
It's like the denouement. It works up to the climax, and then it just drops. But yeah, so we'll see you sometime next week, either Sunday or Monday.
Yep, see you guys.
See ya.